Good day, everyone. I am Sean Garcia, a fifth year BS Accountancy student. And today I will be discussing with you the topics on partnership accounting, specifically for partnership formation, operations, and dissolution. So before we begin, I would like to give credit to the owner of these notes, which we will use to serve as our guide in discussing the topic. Ryan Lines. I will provide the link to these notes sa description of this video. So, before we discuss the actual problem solving part, let's first discuss the theories behind partnership accounting. So, what exactly is a partnership? So, according to the law, a partnership is a contract whereby two or more persons contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. So what we should take note here is contribute money, property, or industry. So sa isang partnership, hindi lang pera or money ang kino-contribute. It can also be property or industry. Industry refers to those skills and capabilities of a person which they can contribute to making the business a success. Now let's compare it with the other forms of a business organization. So, of course, in a partnership, it consists of two or more persons as compared to a sole proprietorship na one person lang. A partnership compared to a corporation. So, a partnership is created by the agreement of the parties. Later, we'll explain that sa formation versus a corporation that is created by the operation of law. So ayun, uh, mas complicated ang uh, pag-form ng isang corporation kasi mas maraming requirements ang need compared to a partnership. So a partnership versus a joint venture. So a partnership is for a business undertaking while sa isang joint venture, most of the time it would be only for a limited purpose. Itong joint venture, it also has a lesson in ADVAC 3. So you will also be discussing the accounting for a joint venture, but not in this subject. Pero yun, compared kasi sa isang partnership, ang joint venture, it's sometimes a limited purpose. Like, once the two companies would pool resources for a certain undertaking or parang to a certain venture na gusto nilang i-achieve. But then once that purpose is fulfilled, tapos na yung joint venture. Pero sa isang partnership, ayun, business undertaking siya. So what about the characteristics? So as I've mentioned a while ago, compared to a corporation, it is easier to form a partnership. Mas konti yung mga requirements. And unlike corporations, they are not as ano, they are not as being watched or hindi sila binabantayan ng government. Hindi kasing taas yung level ng ano, parang binabantayan ng government sa mga partnerships. Sa corporations kasi nga ayun, there are many legal requirements and mahigpit sila kasi ayun nga, malalaking companies. Separate legal personality. So similar to a corporation, uh, may separate legal entity yung partnership. So uh, the partners and then may partnership, separate yung entity, yung legal entity ng isang partnership from the partners. And then mutual agency. So mutual agency, this means that the partners can enter into contracts or they can bind the partnership to certain contracts. Parang when dealing with vendors, ganun, pwedeng i-bind ng isang partner or pwedeng i-bind ng partner yung partnership sa isang deal with those vendors or outside parties or other parties. Co-ownership of property and co-ownership of profit. So as mentioned here, sa definition, they contribute money, property, or industry to divide the profits among themselves. Limited life. So ang partnership, it would be dissolved, dissolution. It would be dissolved when there is a death or withdrawal of a partnership or a partner rather, sorry. So there would be a dissolution when a certain partner would withdraw or die from the partnership. Unlike a corporation, even if one of the owners die, the corporation would still continue to exist. So for the transfer of ownership, uh, this will also be discussed further sa dissolution. Pwede kasing magkaroon ng transfer of ownership sa ibang sa corporation specifically. Pero ayun, sa dissolution, we will discuss this one further. And for the unlimited liability, uh, sa corporation, 'di ba, there is limited liability, pero sa sole proprietorship and partnership, there is unlimited liability, specifically for general partners. So, isingit na lang din natin, there are two types of partners. We have the general and limited partner. The general partner would be liable uh, beyond his contribution sa partnership. So, pag nagkautang yung partnership, the creditors can go after the assets, the personal assets of the uh, partner, general partner. For the limited partner, only to the extent ng capital niya or kinontribute niya sa partnership. And ayun, aside from that, we also have the capitalist and industrial partners. So capitalist partners contribute uh money or property, and for industrial partners, they contribute industry or their skills to the partnership. So, maaring may certain skill ang isang partner. So, sinali siya sa partnership and yun yung i-contribute niya to the partnership. Let us now proceed to the partnership formation. So, rules on formation, this is more on legal matters. So, this will be discussed further in your law subjects. But for us to have some kind of background on the formation of a partnership, as mentioned a while ago, a contract of partnership is perfected by the consent of the parties. However, um, that contract must be in a public instrument if they contribute immovable property or real right. So if they contribute land or some kind of property, they would need to put it in a public instrument. Also, if may capital sila of 3,000 pesos or more. So yun, it needs to be in a public instrument if it meets these two criteria or if merong ganitong contributions sa partnership. So ang public instrument, it's like a legal document uh, for that contract or like a contract of partnership must be in a legal document. Ayun. So rules on valuation. So information problems, mostly we will be dealing with the properties na kinontribute ng mga partners sa isang partnership. 'Di ba nga, it can be uh, either cash or properties. So pag cash, madali lang yan kasi it has a face value and whatever amount of cash they contribute, that's it. However, for certain assets, uh, they have different values, 'di ba? We have fair value, book value, carrying value. So, uh, for the assets, ang magiging first priority mo is agreed value. The value agreed by the partners. If wala yung agreed value, it will be fair value or appraised value. If wala pa rin yung fair value or appraised value, we will use the book value. So, there are certain problems that they might give these three: agreed value, fair value, or book value. So, syempre, kung tatlo yung given, your first priority will be the agreed value. But if given yung fair and book value, madalas kasi ang given is fair value and book value. You follow the fair value. And then for the liabilities, we have only two: fair value or book value. Of course, your priority will be the fair value. So for the capital credit, so we'll discuss this one further when we discuss the problems. But there are some instances kasi na um, the partners will contribute a certain property or cash or both. Pero yung kinontribute nilang amount will not be the same as their capital credit. Uh, so after contributing their capital, if the problem is silent, kung ano yung kinontribute nilang property, yun na rin yung capital credit nila. Kaya lang, may instances na iba yung capital credit na makukuha nung partner. So in those instances, you will just multiply the capital interest to the agreed capital. And another relevant formula sa partnership formation is this one. There are certain problems na magbibigay sila ng nag-contribute yung partner ng certain asset. However, tatanungin ng problem, how much cash should they invest in order to reach this certain percent of contribution. So, of course, in those instances, kung ano yung desired capital credit ng partner, you'll less that dun sa na-contribute na assets. And then, yung magiging sagot mo dun is kung magkano yung additional investment or kaya yung investment na need i-withdraw ng partnership. And then also take note, there are also some problems wherein given yung contributed asset tapos merong liability na naka-attach dun sa certain property. So in those instances when the asset has an attached liability, you will less that liability to the value of the asset para makuha yung contributed capital. Or yung basta in short, kung may liability assumed by the partnership, ileless yun sa value ng asset na kinontribute ng partner. Let us now proceed to the partnership operation. So sa partnership operations, this deals with the division of profit or losses sa isang partnership. So as a general rule, it is of course based on the agreement. So ang partnership lagi yan naka-base sa agreement ng partners. So pag gumawa ng contract of partnership yung mga partners, they would include yung they would include how they would divide the profits. So as a general rule also, the industrial partner is exempted from sharing partnership losses. So, yun nga, ang industrial partner kasi, they contribute their skills, their capabilities to the partner. Kung magka-loss man yung partnership, hindi naman nila mababawi yung industry na kinontribute nila. Kaya, hindi sila sinasama sa losses. So if walang agreement na mag-share siya in the losses or kapag walang loss sharing ratio, automatic, hindi siya mag-share dun sa losses. Pero if kasali sila dun sa P&L ratio or may kasali sila dun sa may ratio sila for the losses. Kung magka-losses man yung partnership, ayun, kasali siya nun. Pero as a general rule nga, for the most part, hindi kasama si industrial partner pag may losses. So, ayun. Without stipulation and with stipulation sa kanilang profit or loss. So, yung first priority for profits is the profit ratio. Pero what if wala talagang agreement or anything? Magbe-base tayo sa capital contribution nila. And what capital contribution specifically? Yung beginning capital contribution nila. The beginning capital contribution will be their basis kung hindi given yung profit ratio or if there is no given agreement kung magkano nila hahatiin or paano nila hahatiin yung mga profits. For the losses, of course, first the loss ratio. Pero in the absence of a loss ratio, magbe-base tayo sa profit ratio. Kung wala pa rin, yun, we will base it on their capital contribution. So here, for certain problems, may ibibigay silang salaries, interest on their capital contribution, and the bonus. Uh, so these are given para ma-incentivize yung mga partners. So, syempre, salaries, mostly given yan sa mga partners who are actively taking a role in the partnership, yung mga nagmamanage ng affairs ng business. Interest on capital contribution, this one is for contributing properties or, money to the partnership. And then, bonus, siyempre, if the business does well, magpo-provide din sila, pwede silang mag-provide ng bonus to a certain partner. And then for certain problems, there will be a remainder based it on the P&L ratio. Uh, However, take note na kapag may loss ang partnership, of course, hindi tayo magbibigay ng bonus. We won't give this if the partnership has a loss or incurs a loss. So, take note na yung salaries, interest, and bonus of a partner, hindi sila expense ng business talaga. Like, they're only called that, pero hindi sila ine-expense or kino-consider as expense sa income statement or P&L. Kasi, uh, yan yung way lang of dividing the profit between the partners. Pero hindi siya kasali sa expenses. Like, baka malito kayo na salaries are included dito sa formula ng or sa stipulation ng partners. But it's not an expense. Profit distribution siya. It's a method or it's a way of dividing the profits between the partners. Pero hindi siya expense ng business. Pero of course, kung employee yan, salaries ng employee, ayun, expense yan. Pero if it's for the owners, profit distribution siya. So how do we compute for the bonus? So for the bonus, these are some ways or shortcut to the formula sa pag-compute ng bonus. So kapag sinabing before bonus, it's easy. You just multiply the bonus percentage to the profit. We also have after bonus. So kung minsan, kung after bonus lang siya, kunin mo lang yung profit. Then instead of having to do algebra, you can just use this shortcut. I-divide mo lang yung profit dun sa 100% plus bonus or 1 plus the percentage ng bonus. So kung halimbawa, sinabi niyang 5% bonus for partner A, all you have to do is, kunwari, if the profit is 100,000, 100,000 divided by 1.05 or 105%, then you multiply it to the bonus percentage of 5%. So you don't need to do algebra. Ito yung mga shortcut in computing the bonus. After salaries, interest, and bonus, minsan kasama din yung taxes in certain problems. You will, of course, deduct the salaries, interest, and bonus. No, salaries and interest. And if taxes kasama din minsan, you will deduct it from the profit. Then, i-divide mo sa 100% plus the bonus percentage or 1 plus the bonus percentage. And you just multiply it by the bonus percentage. For the interest, it can be based on beginning capital balances and weighted average capital. There are some problems din, simple capital, but for the most part, pag sinabing average, you will follow weighted average capital method. So, weighted average capital method, basically, i-compute natin yung average yung month outstanding, yung multiply natin yung uh, amount of that partner's capital to the months na that months outstanding of that balance. Kasi ang dito rational, kung kasing magbe-base sa beginning capital balances, what if the partner would withdraw their interest from the capital. So parang they can manipulate it kung magbe-base lang sa beginning. Ang weighted average kasi, it would avoid the manipulating of the capital balance kasi possible din mag-base sila sa ending balance of the capital balance or the ending capital balance, sorry. Pwede rin yun. So if nag-base sila sa ending capital balance, pwedeng gawin ng partner mag-i-invest siya bigla at the end of the year para tumaas yung interest niya. So that's the rationale behind this weighted average capital method. And then for drawings, we have permanent and this should be temporary drawings. Kasi 'di ba permanent drawings, you would be debiting their capital account. So mababawasan yung capital nila. Pag temporary, ide-debit mo yung drawings account and then it would be closed sa capital pag temporary. And then all drawings are treated as permanent if there is a net loss or if the problem is silent. Next, we have partnership dissolution. So dissolution occurs when there is a change in the relation of the partners caused by any partner being disassociated from the business. So, ang causes, of course, pwedeng nag-admit ng new partner, possible na mag-withdraw na yung partner sa partnership, like for personal reasons, pwedeng magre-retire na siya, or of course, it can also be the death of the partner. And there are also some instances na magkakaroon ng incorporation. So, sa pag-admit ng new partner, there can be two ways. Pwedeng mag-purchase siya ng interest from the partner or pwedeng mag-invest siya in the partnership. And ayun, for the withdrawal, retirement, or death of a partner, pwedeng i-purchase ng remaining partners yung interest niya or possible na i-settle na lang yung naging yung capital ng partner. And for incorporation, pag na-incorporate or naging corporation yung business. So ano yung mga rules that we should remember in the partnership dissolution? So before anything else, if you need to, if there is any undistributed profit or loss or yung income na hindi pa nadidistribute, or if may asset na need i-revalue, you will prorate that between the partners using their P&L ratio. Next. So, ano yung mga need nating i-consider sa mga ways of uh, pag nagkaroon ng dissolution? Pag nagkaroon ng purchase of interest, basically, uh, bibilin ng isang outside party yung interest ng partner. So basically, ang mangyayari nun, matlilipat lang yung capital balance ng partner to the new partner. So madedebit yung capital nung old, yung capital account niya, magka-credit yung capital account ng new. Tapos, ang tatandaan natin dito, walang gain or loss na mangyayari. Kasi, yung settlement between ng partners, kunwari, excess yung naging payment nung partner dun, yung nung old partner dun sa new, hindi yun gain, hindi yun ilalagay sa books as a gain. Personal gain siya nung selling partner. Kasi, tinransfer lang yung capital balance. Walang cash na napunta sa partnership. Kaya walang gain yung partnership from that transaction. It's only the personal gain of the selling partner. For investment, yun, dito pumapasok for the other, for these two, for the remaining, dito pumapasok yung bonus method and yung asset revaluation or goodwill method. So, ayun nga, we will discuss this one further sa mga problems kasi mahirap siyang i-appreciate pag theories lang eh. So kapag nag-invest yung new partner, pwedeng gamitin yung bonus method or asset revaluation method kapag hindi equal yung yung capital credit nung new partner dun sa kinontribute niya. So pwede siyang bonus to the old or new partner kapag nangyari yun. So we'll discuss that further, yung agreed capital, contributed capital, capital credit. Paano siya ino-consider sa mga problems? Withdrawal or retirement. So kapag na-purchase siya ng mga remaining partners, ano lang yan, simple transfer of capital. Malilipat lang yung capital balance ni old to new. And ayun nga, kapag may gain or anything between pag may personal gain yung selling partner or retiring partner, sa kanya lang yung gain na yun kasi walang cash na napunta sa partnership. It's just a transfer nung capital. If settled or paid by the partnership, ayun, gagamitin ang bonus method if may difference between the settlement amount and the net capital interest. So, aside sa bonus method, we can also use the asset revaluation or the goodwill method. We'll discuss this one further pag nag-discuss ng problems. And for incorporation, these are the steps. In incorporation, walang masyadong nagiging problems regarding this one. Pero ito yung steps for your reference. And then for the treatment of loan balances, kapag, 'di ba kasi pwedeng magkaroon ng loan yung partner sa partnership, pwede siyang mangutang or pwedeng mangutang yung partnership sa kanya. So kapag may retirement or magwi-withdraw yung partners, we need to consider those balances only for the retiring partner. So that is it for the theory portion of our discussion. We will now move on to some sample problems that can help you in understanding partnership accounting much better. Let's now proceed to the problem solving portion of this tutorial. So our first set of problems will involve partnership formation. So let's analyze the first problem. Problem 1. On January 1, 2023, Ash, Brock, and Misty formed ABM Company which operates in Pampanga. Ash contributed cash with a face value of 60,000 pesos, while Brock contributed land and building with a historical cost, accumulated depreciation, and market value of 150,000, 50,000, and 70,000 respectively. The land and building have an outstanding mortgage of 20,000 face value with a present value of 18,000 for the remaining cash flows. The last partner, Misty, contributed inventories with a cost of 50,000 and a current market value of 60,000. The partners agreed that these inventories should be valued at 55,000. In addition, the partners agreed that their contributions would be the agreed capital of the partners in the partnership. How much is the capital of Ashbrook and Misty in the newly formed partnership? So for this problem, we're just going to analyze which amounts are we going to use for their capital balances. So pipiliin lang natin kung ano yung tamang amount ng bawat partner sa partnership. So for Ash, ang kinontribute niya lang ay cash. So, since cash lang ang kinontribute, wala nang question dun. Ang magiging amount na i-record natin is 60,000. So, for Ash Capital, it's just the cash of 60,000. Next, Brock contributed land and building with a historical cost, accumulated depreciation, and market value of 150, 50, and 70,000. And the land and building have an outstanding mortgage of 20,000 face value with a present value of 18,000. So, dito may attached liability and there are also three values given. So, wala yung agreed value. So, magbe-base tayo sa market value of the building. So, the market value of the building is the market value of the land and building is 70,000. Pero hindi pa diyan tapos kasi meron siyang outstanding mortgage na 20,000 face value with a present value of 18,000. So for this one, we will actually base it on the present value. Uh, yung present value kasi, yun yung pinaka fair value no mortgage. So ang capital ni Brock is 52,000. Next, the last partner, Misty, contributed inventories with a cost of 50,000 and a current market value of 60,000. The partners agreed that these inventories should be valued at 55,000. So ano sa tingin nyo yung gagamitin nating value dito? If you guessed or thought na 55,000, tama ka. Kasi, di ba nga, in the order of priority is agreed muna before fair market value. So kahit given yung fair market value, 55,000 yung ilalagay natin. So Misty Capital, ang inventory is 55,000. And that's it for problem 1. So for the next problem, formation pa rin tayo. On December 15, 2022, S&M decided to form the SM company. Their balance sheets on this day are, just read the amounts. The partners agreed that the machinery and equipment of S is underdepreciated by 15,000 and that of M by 45,000. Allowance for doubtful accounts is to be set up amounting to 120,000 for S and 45,000 for M. The partnership agreement provides for a profit and loss and capital interest ratio of 60,000 to S and 40,000 to M. How much cash must S invest to bring the partners' capital balances proportionate to their profit and loss ratio? So for this one, uh, first, the first thing that we need to do is compute for the capital balances of the partners. Kasi, as per their agreement, magkakaroon ng adjustments to their amounts. So, let's do the long method first. Tapos, I'll give a way or a shortcut in computing this. So, so what we will do first is list the amounts for each partner. And then we would get the adjusted capital balances. So for cash, wala namang sinabing adjustment. So as it is siya for both partners. For the receivables, it says here, allowance for doubtful accounts is to be set up for 120 and 45,000. So anong ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin magkakaroon ng allowance. Anong ginagawa ng allowance sa account pag sa accounts receivable? It lowers the amount. So, ang mangyayari, 540,000, mababawasan ng allowance na 120. So, ang amounts na to will be accounts receivable net. So, ang ginagawa kasi ng allowance is binababa niya yung receivable. So, it will be a deduction. Same naman sa kay M. Kaso lang 45,000 lang yung magiging allowance niya. So, that gives us 180,000. For the inventory, wala si S, pero meron si M. So, magiging adjustment natin dun is wala. Lalagay lang natin siya as it is. For the machinery and equipment, sabi daw, the partners agreed that the machinery and equipment is under depreciated by 15,000 and that of M by 45. So pag under depreciated, anong ibig sabihin nun? Under, kulang yung depreciation. Ano yung ginagawa ng depreciation? It lowers the value of the equipment. So if it says under depreciated, that means we need to reduce the machinery further or lower its amount, decrease the amount. We need to adjust it pababa. Kasi under depreciated. So 150,000 minus 15,000 for S. Kay M naman, we have 270,000 which will be reduced by 45,000. So those are the adjusted machinery and equipment amounts. So take note, pag under depreciated, you will lower it. Pero kapag sinabing over depreciated, that means sobra ang depreciation. So what you will do is you will increase it by increasing the amount. So take note na lang sa mga problems. In other problems, ang gagawin nila is uh, they will give the fair value agad. So doon ka na magbe-base. Also be careful kasi there are times pwede nilang pagbaligtarin yung mga partners. Uh, pag tip lang to in solving problems kasi there are times you have to be careful. Iibahin nila yung uh, iibahin nila yung arrangement. So kunwari mauuna si M, pangalawa si S, ganun. So for the payables, no adjustments here. We will just use that amount as it is. 135,000 for S and 240,000 for M. So what you will do now is you just get the total of these amounts. Okay. Now, uh, what we need to do next is uh, get the total capital balance of the partnership, what the capital balance should be. So, ang sabi dito, si S ang mag-i-invest. S will be the one to invest cash. So that means si M ang magiging basis natin. Why? Kasi uh, if gagawin nating basis si S for the total capital, hindi na siya gagalaw dapat. So from the problem itself, pwede na natin i-assume na si M ang magiging basis natin ng total capital. What do I mean? Since sinabi na 60 will go, 60% of the capital interest should be for S and for M it should be 40,000. 40%, sorry. M will be 40%. What we will do now is we need to get or gross up this amount. Madapat ang 40% ng capital interest ng partners is this amount. So, anong gagawin natin? Since 40% ito, i-divide natin siya ng 40% para makuha yung total capital ng partnership dapat. So, paano natin gagawin? M capital is 405,000 divided by M capital ratio of 40%. So, 0.4. That will give us the total partnership capital. So, this amount will be the total partnership capital. So, if M has a 40% capital ratio, ibig sabihin, ang capital ratio ni S is 60%. So, what we can do next is kunin natin yung supposed capital interest ni S. So we will get the supposed capital interest of S by multiplying it by 60%. So 0.6. So S capital should be 607,500. Now, so yun ang capital dapat ni S. However, ang naka-record is 435,000. So, ang gagawin na lang natin yan is we will deduct this amount to this. So, deduct this, this from this to get the investment that S needs to invest in a partnership. or the amount of cash that S needs to invest para mag 607,500 607,500. So just get the adjusted capital balance of M of S rather, I'm sorry, which is 435,000. Then cash investment of S will be the difference between these two amounts. And there is your answer for problem 2. So how can we simplify this one? Ito, shortcut, what you can do is, para mabilis na, total given naman yung capital balances or unadjusted capital balances. Pwedeng ang gawin nyo is base it on their capital balances. Then, mag-a-adjust ka na lang based dito sa mga adjustments na given. So, magsa-start ka sa 570,000 ni S. Then, under-depreciated, meaning bababa yung value ng asset. So, what will you do with that? Magdi-decrease din nun ang capital. So, 570 minus 15. Then, the allowance for the full account is to be set up amounting to 120. So, 570 minus 15 minus 120, you will get 435. Just do the same process kay M, mas mabilis na siya nun. So, ayun, that's one way you can solve this kind of problem. Shortcut lang, para rin hindi ka matagalan. Kasi syempre, there are times na kulang yung time. There are times na kulang yung time na given. So, that's one way you can simplify this problem. Para hindi mo na kailangan ilatag yung buong solution na to. So for problem 3, dito may involved na bonus and revaluation method. Ang revaluation method, yun yung goodwill method din na sinasabi. Uh, Bale, two things to note dito. Para mapadali yung solving or somehow guided tayo, pag ang total agreed capital and ang total contributed capital are equal, there is a bonus. So, ibig sabihin, kung ano yung kinontribute ng partners, yun na yung total, yun na rin yung agreed capital. Ibig sabihin may bonus. So, ibig sabihin, one partner will be giving or yung capital contribution ng isang partner is malilipat lang. Pag ang total agreed capital is greater than or less than the total contributed capital, magkakaroon ng asset revaluation. Ibig sabihin, mababawasan yung value ng asset and mababawasan yung magiging agreed capital. So kung ano yung kinontribute nila, hindi yun yung agreed capital, hindi sila equal. So for this problem, Tick and Tack agreed to establish a partnership business. Tick contributed cash of 19,000, inventories of 51,000, and an equipment worth 80,000. On the other hand, Tack invested land and building with an agreed value of 45,000. Both parties agreed that their profit and loss should be 70% to Tick and 30% to Tack, while capital ratio should be 75% to Tick and 25% to Tack. If the bonus method is used, what is the capital of TAC at the formation of the partnership? If revaluation method is used and TIC is the basis for the valuation, what is the capital of TAC at the formation of the partnership? So, wag tayo papalito if in case dalawa yung rates na ginamit. since capital ratio, iba yung profit and loss sa capital ratio. Syempre, sa pag-compute ng capital balances, we will base it on their capital ratio. So, paano natin i-analyze to? Uh, so, for problem A, gawa tayo ng table for tick and for tack. Next, meron tayong total agreed capital na column and meron tayong total contributed capital na column. Um, bale, ang total contributed capital natin is how much? Compute natin per partner. So for Tick, they contributed cash of 19, inventory of 51, and equipment of 80. So straightforward na lang yan kasi wala namang binigay na market value or other value. So we can simply just add everything. 19,000 plus 51,000 plus 45,000. Or I'm sorry, plus 80,000 rather. So 150,000 yung contributed capital ni Tick. Ang total contributed capital ni TAC is 45,000 lang kasi building lang yung kinontribute niya. So if the bonus method is used, ano yung total ng contributed capital nila? 195. So kung 195,000 yung total contributed capital and we know sa bonus method na total agreed capital equals total contributed capital, pwede nating ilagay na agad dito na 195,000 to. Now, ang magiging ano niyan, problem, magkano yung mapupunta kay Tick, magkano yung mapupunta kay TAC. Sabi nga, the capital ratio should be 75% to Tick and 25% to TAC. So actually, ang pinaka-simpleng way na pwede natin gawin is you just multiply this by 75% and you multiply this one by 25% kay TAC. Kung magkano yung share nila or the amount ng share nila, yun na yung yun na yung magiging uh, imumultiply mo dun sa total na contributed capital. Since equal lang naman to, multiply mo lang nun yung magiging yung magiging capital ratio nila. Kaya yun, 75% of 195, 146, 250. 25% ng 195, 48,750. Dito naman yan, there should be another column din. Pero actually, this is already the answer. Pero for purposes of illustration, para makita, yun yung tinatawag nating bonus. Yung difference. Kasi pansin nyo, hindi equal yung yung total contributed capital and agreed capital nila. So, ang difference is uh, bonus. So, kung sasubtract or ima-minus ko yung dalawang value, dito natin makikita na may bonus si partner TAC from TIC. Yung 3,750 na amount na capital ni TIC na punta kay. So to answer question A, what is the capital of TAC at the formation of the partnership? 48,750 yung sagot. Next, for letter B, we will use the same uh, table. So, pero dito, revaluation to. So, same naman yung contributed capital nila. No questions here. Kaya lang, ang magiging question yan, ano yung total agreed capital natin? If revaluation method is used and FIC is the basis for the revaluation, what is the capital of fact at the formation of the partnership? So, ang mangyayari niyan, since ang basis natin is si TIC for the revaluation, what we will do is, uh, ang magiging agreed capital ay based kay TIC. So, i-gross up natin yung uh, contributed capital ni TIC. Bakit? Kasi revaluation method. So, kung basis si TIC for the revaluation, ibig sabihin, yung capital account niya, yung magiging basis natin para sa total partnership capital. 'Di ba dun sa previous problem, nakalagay dun na magkano yung invest ni S. So, nag-base tayo kay M. Here, sinabi na outright kung ano yung magiging basis natin. So, ang gagawin lang natin dun sa total agreed capital, yung total niya is i-divide natin yung i-divide natin yung contributed capital ni TIC by the capital ratio of 75. So, ibig sabihin, 200,000 yung total partnership capital. So, ayun, same procedure as before, just multiply their capital ratios to the total agreed capital. And kung mapapansin nyo, yan, tumaas to ng 5,000. So ayun, hindi nga equal yung agreed and contributed capital kasi there was a revaluation nung asset. Ayun. So kung kukunin natin yung difference of these amounts, ito syempre zero. Ito naman 5,000, 50 minus 45,000. So yun, nagkaroon ng asset revaluation na 5,000. Ayun. So simply just use this table and this shortcut kapag meron kayong mga sinusolve na problems na involved ang bonus and revaluation method. Total agreed capital and total contributed capital. So, pwedeng AC and CC na lang para hindi nakakalito. Then, ang third column, it would be bonus or revaluation depending on the problem. For problem 4, we will be dealing with partnership operations. So, for this problem, ang magiging main point nito ay yung computation ng weighted average capital balance. So, let's read the problem. On January 1, 2025, DD and EE decided to form a partnership. At the end of the year, the partnership made a net income of 120,000. The capital accounts of the partnership show the following transactions. Tapos ito yung naging transactions or movements in their capital accounts. Assuming that an interest of 20% per annum is given on average capital and the balance of the profits is allocated equally, the allocation of profits should be So, ang hahanapin natin dito, yung allocation ng profit kay D and kay E. So, kunin muna natin yung weighted average capital nila. So, let's start with D. So, ilalagay natin dito yung amount, yung months na na-cover, and yung uh, total. So, from January 1 to April 1, 40,000 yung naging amount ng capital. Ilang months siya naging 40,000. So, January to April is 3 months. That gives us a total. Pag pinag-multiply nyo, imo-multiply nyo para makuha yung, multiply nyo yung amount and yung number of months na naging outstanding siya at that amount. Tapos, nung April 1, nagkaroon ng debit na 5,000. What does that mean? Ang ibig sabihin nun, bumaba yung capital ng 5,000. So, 40,000 minus 5,000, 35,000. So, April 1 to June 1, or the next period is August 1. So, August 1 yung next na movement kay D. So, April 1 to August 1 is 4 months. Next, ang naging next movement niya nung August 1 is nagka-credit siya na 10,000. So, ibig sabihin, tumaas yung capital ng 10,000. So, ilang period or hanggang kailan covered yun? That's covered from August 1 to August 1 to October 1. Kasi October 1, nagkaroon ng movement ulit. So, that's good for 2 months. So, if we multiply those two amounts, 90,000. Next, nagkaroon ulit ng movement noong October 1. Nagka-credit na 5,000. That means tumaas siya ng 5,000. So, ilang months siya outstanding? October 1 to December 1. So, that's 2 months. So, we will just multiply the amount to the months outstanding. And finally, December 1 to, we can assume December 31 na to kasi hanggang end of month. So, nagkaroon siya ng credit na 4,000, meaning to say, tumaas to ng 4,000. Tumaas ang capital ng 4,000. So, 1 month lang yun. So, kunin natin yung total. Then we will divide it by the months outstanding, 12 months. And that is our weighted average capital balance, or DD. Next, let's apply that to EE. So for the first one, nag-start ang capital balance ni EE at 25,000. So good for ilang periods yun? January to June 1. So that's 5 months. So simply multiply it again. Next, nung June 1, nagkaroon ng credit na 10,000. Ibig sabihin, tumaas yung capital niya ng 10,000. So we'll just add 10,000. So good ang balance na yan from June hanggang sa nagkaroon ng movement ulit nung September 1. So that's a total of 3 months outstanding. July to September. Ay, June to September rather. I'm sorry. Nagkaroon ng multiply 35,000 to 3,000, you get 105,000. Next, nung September, nagkaroon ng debit na 3,000. Ibig sabihin, bumaba yung capital ng 3,000. And that was good for September to October, 1 month lang. Next, nung October 1, nagkaroon ng debit ulit na 1,000. That means, bumaba siya ulit ng 1,000. So, it was outstanding for 31,000 from October 1 to December 1. That's 2 months. Just multiply it again. Then, noong December 1, nagkaroon ng credit na 5,000. Ibig sabihin, tumaas yung kanyang capital balance ng 5,000. So, December 1 to December 31. That was good for 1 month. Ayun, so matik na siya nag-multiply. And our total is 360,000 divide it again by 12 for EE is 30,000. So another way you can actually compute para dito sa weighted average is imumultiply nyo na siya agad ng 3/12 para hindi na kayo magdi-divide pa dito. Pero it's up to you. Either way, dapat same ang makuhang sagot. So now, how will we compute yung ano nila, profit? Since alam na natin to, pwede na tayo mag-compute ng profit. So, magkakaroon sila, dalawang items lang yan, interest, tsaka yung remainder kasi wala namang salaries or bonus. So, sabi daw, yung remainder will be equally. So, latag natin, BD, EE, and their total. And then there will be another total here. So sabi, 20% per annum is given on average capital. So one thing to take note here is the date. May mga problems kasi what they will do is middle of the year uh, or basta kalagitnaan siya ng taon, hindi siya January. So what you need to do kapag interest and salary is you need to consider the date sa operations kasi yun nga 20% per annum. What if hindi January 1 so what if it was June 30? June 30 to December 31 is 6 months. So, ibig sabihin, one half of the interest lang yung makukuha nila kasi you need to prorate it based sa number of months. So, yun, take note no, yung mga date kasi minsan iibahin nila to, pampalit to. So, kahit tama yung na-compute mong weighted average, if you did not take note of the dates, mamamali pa rin. Pero for this problem, since January 1 siya, all we need to do for their interest, kay DD, multiply it by 0.2 or 20%. For EE, just do the same. Okay, sorry. That should be 0.2, 20%. And then their total for interest is 144,000 and our total should be 120,000. So kung meron tayong 120,000 na interest na distribute na natin yung 144,000, ibig sabihin we can still distribute 105,600. And ang sabi sa problem, the balance of the profits will be allocated equally. So all we need to do is divide this amount by 2 since equally nga siya. And we get the total for this. Sorry, sum. I'll get the total for these amounts. And yan yung allocation nila ng profit. So that is how you compute for the weighted average, a capital balance. So again, we will have another partnership operations problem. So on April 1, 2023, SciDuctCo was established with the following items on the allocation of profit or loss. A. Monthly salaries of 2,500 pesos should be given to Sci and 2,000 to Duck. Interest of 5% on the ending capital before profit allocation. Bonus of 10% is given to the managing partner, Sci, after deducting bonus and salaries, but before taxes and interest. The remaining amount will be allocated 40% to Sai and 60% to Duck. At the end of the year, Sai and Duck have a capital of 400,000 and 350,000 respectively. The partnership had earned a revenue of 350,000 and expense of 145,000. The tax rate is 30%. How much is the bonus given to the managing partner and what is the share of Duck in the profit allocation? So, to simplify this or to make it more easier to follow, let's make a table. So we have salaries, interest, and bonus, and the remainder. Side, doc, and total. Okay. So for the salaries, we have 2,500 for Sai and 2,000 for doc. So one thing to take note of here is April 1 yung problem. So monthly salaries, ilang months pa lang yung lumipas? 9 months. So ibig sabihin yung salaries and interest computation natin, ipoprorate natin ng 9 months. So for salaries, 2,500 times 9 per SAI and 2,000 times 9 per DOC. So that gives us a total of 40,500. Next, for the interest, simply multiply this one again by 5%, then 9 over 12 months. So 400,000 times 5% times 9 over 12. Then 350,000 times 5% times 9 over 12. Next, for the bonus, dito, medyo kailangan na natin mag-compute or we need to be careful here. Bonus of 10% is given to the managing partner SI after deducting bonus and salaries but before in taxes and interest. So magkano muna yung profit natin? Based sa problem, we had a revenue of 350,000 minus expenses of 145,000. So simply deduct mo yung dalawa. Then may tax rate. So we need to consider that as well. Pero sabi nga, before in taxes and interest. So, dito sa total yan, mako-consider. Pero for now, we don't need to deduct the taxes. We don't need to deduct the interest as well. Pero if sinabi na ide-deduct yung tax, you need to deduct the tax. So sabi dito, after deducting bonus and salaries. So ibig sabihin, pwede na natin i-deduct si salaries. So, ito yung total profit. Next, paano natin i-compute yung bonus? 'Di ba? Doon sa handout na pinakita ko kanina, meron tayong shortcut. Since na-deduct naman na natin yung salaries, all we need to do is divide it by 1 plus the bonus rate, which is 0.1 or 10%. Then, ang makukuha natin, that amount. Then we just need to multiply it again. There is your bonus. So ayun, we need to be careful kasi ayun, depende pa rin yan sa requirements ng problem. So sabi nga, magbe-base tayo sa profit after deducting bonus and salaries but before taxes and interest. So sabi nga, hindi pa ide-deduct yung taxes and yung interest. So all you have to do is subtract revenue from expenses, then deduct the salaries. Then 'di ba nga ang shortcut pag before after bonus, i-divide mo lang yung amount, the deducted amount or the applicable amount dun sa bonus, 1 plus the bonus amount. Then ito na yung bonus mo kay SIDA. Yun yung sagot sa letter A. So i-plot na natin dito. Next, before we move on sa remainder, uh, we need to compute magkano yung remainder nga na madidistribute. So, as I've mentioned nga kanina, di ba, meron tayong profit of 205,000 kaso pre-tax to, before tax. So, ang gagawin natin, i-multiply natin ng 1 minus the tax rate or 70%. So, ito yung profit na madidistribute, the remaining profit. Kasi ito yung before tax, ito yung after tax. So for the remainder, kunin natin yung pwede pang ma-distribute after adding up the salaries, interest and bonus. So yan pa yung remainder na pwedeng i-distribute. So ang magiging distribution is 40% to SAI and 60% to DOC. So simply just multiply this by 40% and 60%. And then kukunin mo yung total nito. And your answer for letter B should be this one. So, ano yung trick dito sa problem na to? Be careful kasi possible na you computed the profit here, tapos inassume nyo na ay ito na pala or baka nawala sa isip nyo na hindi pa to pre-tax or before tax. So yun, you need to take note una sa date, pangalawa if may tax. Kasi yun, magiging tricky yung problem pag ganun or possible na magkaroon ng twist problem. For our next problems, we will be discussing or having problems regarding partnership dissolution. So for this next problems, dito magagamit natin ulit si bonus at si revaluation method. So for problem 6, JN partnership is owned by J and N. J's capital is 140,000 and N's is 40,000. And they share profits in a 3-to-1 ratio respectively. They decide to admit T to the partnership. Each of the following cases or questions is independent of the others. So, two problems lang pero independent cases. Hindi sila magkaka-connect. So, for letter A, what amount will T have to invest to give him a 1/5 interest in the capital of the partnership if no bonus or goodwill is recorded? So, for letter A, parang ano lang to, uh, the last problem dun sa formation. So, gagawin lang natin, kunin natin yung total capital of the old partners. So, ang capital ng old partners is 140,000 plus 40,000. So, meron silang total capital na 180,000. Ngayon, kukunin natin yung amount na need-i-invest ni P para maging 1/5 ng capital ng partnership. So, walang na-record na goodwill or capital. So, paano yun? Kung gusto ni T ng 1/5 interest, ibig sabihin yan, itong amount ng capital partners should represent 80%. Kasi 'di ba, 4/5 is 80%. So, ibig sabihin yan, yung 1/5 is 20%. So, kung 20% yung gusto ng new partner na si T, ah yun yung need nating kunin. So, ito yung gusto na part ni T, ito yung kina J and N. Now, nakuha natin yung old partner. So, like tulad nung ginawa natin sa problems kanina, kung 80% to, we need to gross it up. So, i-divide natin siya ng 80%. So, ibig sabihin, ang magiging total capital supposedly is 225,000. Now, kung ang capital ng old partners is 180, you just need to deduct yung capital balance nila. And ito yung magiging amount na i-invest ni T para magkaroon ng ah 20% or 1/5 interest. So shortcut nito is divide mo lang siya by 80, then you just multiply it by 20%. Isang way din yun, multiply mo. I just deducted it para ma-illustrate. Ayun. So ganyan yung pag-compute ng investment kung walang bonus or goodwill talaga na magaganap. Magbe-base ka sa old partners capital balance, then you will divide it dun sa uh, supposed capital interest nila. So kung halimbawa gusto nung partner na mag-i-invest ng 25%, i-divide mo to ng 75%. Yun. So basically, kukunin mo yung total ng old partners, then i-divide mo dun sa uh, 1 minus the interest na kukunin ng new partner. Next, for letter B, dito, we will use the table or yung TAC and TCC na ginamit natin kanina. Pero instead na names ng partners, we'll just use old partners and new partners. So, ang contributed capital ng old partners is 180. Diba? Napag-usapan naman na natin yun. Next, ano yung investment ng new partner? Sabi nga dito sa problem, nag-invest si Jay ng 40,000. That gives us a total of 220,000. Ngayon, sabi dito sa problem, JNN agreed that the inventory is obsolete. Then, hence, the inventory account is decreased. So, ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng negative asset revaluation or bumaba yung value ng asset. Now, anong amount niyan yung ipa-plot natin dito? We need to try both niyan. I-gross up natin yung dalawang amounts na to see kung alin yung magiging basis natin. Bakit? Pakita ko, no? So, kung magiging basis natin yung old partners, 'di ba, 180,000 ang kinontribute nila. For the new, 40. 'Di ba nga, same pa rin naman yung interest as here. 80% yung kay old, 20% yung kay new. Next, i-gross up natin both. So, ibig sabihin, kung magiging basis natin sila J and N, dapat ito yung amount ng total partnership capital. Kung mag-base tayo kay T, ang magiging total partnership capital is 200,000 kasi nga nag-gross up tayo using their supposed capital interest dun sa partnership. Now, alin yung gagamitin nating amount dito? So, if you guess or kung sa tingin yung 200,000 yung gagamitin natin, tama kayo. Bakit? Kasi nagkaroon nga ng revaluation na pababa kasi obsolete yung inventory. So, ibig sabihin, dapat mas mababa sa 220 yung magiging interest ng yung magiging total agreed capital. So ayun, dito tayo magbe-base sa 200,000. Kasi kung magbe-base tayo sa 225, ibig sabihin nagkaroon ng revaluation pataas. Sabi nga, inventory is obsolete. Kahit hindi sinabi sa problem directly na gagamit tayo ng kung sino yung magiging basis. We know na 200 yung gagamitin dahil nagkaroon nga ng revaluation, negative revaluation, nagka-decrease. So next, ang gagawin lang natin, ipo-prorate natin yan kung magkano yung um, capital interest nila. So multiply this one by 80% for the old and 20% for the new. Yun ang magiging sagot. So ibig sabihin, meron tayong negative revaluation na 20,000. Ito yung sagot kasi tinatanong niya ano yung decrease. So yun, another thing to take note pag nagsosolve ng problems, make sure nyo na kung ano yung sinasagot or hinahanap sa problem, yun yung gagamitin. So in this case, since decrease yung hinahanap, decrease yung sasagot natin. So for our final problem, we have another problem involving bonus and revaluation method. So for problem 7, Babe, B, and B have the following capital balances: 40,000, 50,000, and 30,000 respectively. The partners share profits and losses, 20%, 40%, and 40% respectively. A. B retires and is paid 80,000 based on the terms of the original partnership agreement. If the revaluation of asset method is used, what is the capital of the remaining partners? B. B retires and is paid 80,000 based on the terms of the original partnership agreement. The bonus method is used. What is the capital of the remaining partners? So, gamitin natin ulit yung table natin na TAC and TCC. Then, pagsama natin si Ba and B dito and si B dito. So, ang capital ni Ba is 40. Ang capital ni B is 30. So, dito siya sa baba. And then, ang capital ni B is, I'm sorry. Ang capital ni B is 50. I'm sorry. Napagbaligtad pala. This is 30 and this one is 50. Ayun. So, sabi dito sa problem, Barry Tyson is paid 80,000 based on the terms of the original partnership agreement. So, ibig sabihin, yung mapupuntang capital sa kanya is 80,000. Ngayon, since we know na magkakaroon ng revaluation, and since given nga na si B yung nag-retire, ibig sabihin, we can use this amount we can use the difference between these two amounts. Now, ibig sabihin, nag-increase yung capital balance ni Ben ng 30,000. Ngayon, di ba we have partial and full? goodwill method or revaluation. So, kapag silent yung problem, we can assume na full goodwill. So, ibig sabihin, itong 30,000 na naging increase sa capital ni Be is 40% or yes, 40% lang nung total na na-revalue. Kasi nga, di ba, 40% yung kay BNB and 20% yung kay BA. So kung 30% to ay 40% yung 30,000, we can gross it up. Meaning to say, yung naging total revaluation is 75,000. So yun, i-multiply lang natin yung capital balances nila here. Ayun. So, ibig sabihin, ang total revaluation is 75,000. Tapos, syempre, ia-add lang natin dito yung naging revaluation nila. So, if the problem is silent, use the full goodwill method. So, kung ang ginawa lang natin is, kinuha natin yung difference nung naging settlement kay Be, which is 30,000. So, kung full goodwill nga, ibig sabihin, yung 30,000 na yun represent 40% lang nung naging devaluation. Kaya ginross up natin siya, naging 75,000. Then distribute natin, and then we added it to their capital balances. So our answer for letter A is 55 and 60,000. 55,000 for BA and 60,000 for B. For letter B, we can use the same table. Pero um magiging iba yung third column natin kasi bonus na siya. So, same as before, syempre. Same pa rin naman yung naging nila capital balances. So, 'di ba, kapag doon sa shortcut, ang agreed capital equals the contributed capital bonus method. So, kung nagkaroon nga ng bonus, ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng increase of 30,000 sa kanya. Saan manggagaling yung 30,000? Of course, sa old partners. Paano nila ipaghahati itong 30,000? They will use their old capital ratio, yung bali, 'di ba? Um, magbe-base tayo sa capital ratio ng old partners. So, paano nila paghahatiin to? Gagawa ka ng new fraction based dun sa remaining na amount na natitira for the old partners. So, basically, ang magiging niyan, allocation, 20/60, 40/60. So, ibig sabihin, yun, kasi 60% to, so yun yung magiging total. Itong 30,000 na bonus na nakuha ni Be, paghahatian ni Ba and B, yun, using this fraction. So, ibig sabihin, ang isyo-shoulder na bonus ni Ba is 10,000. And ang isyo-shoulder na bonus or ang ita-transfer na bonus ni B is worth 20,000. So, magdi-decrease yung mga balances nila. So, 40 minus 10 is 30 and 30 minus 20 is 10. So, ayun, kung mapapansin nyo, equal pa rin naman ang balance. If you can see here, yung sum ng tatlo is 120,000. So, equal pa rin. So, nangyari, sa bonus, kung ano yung difference nila, paghahatiin ng dalawang partners. Dito naman sa revaluation, tataas yung value or yung capital ng ibang partners. So, ang sagot dito, 30,000 and 40,000. Nagkaroon lang ng transfer dun sa capital balances. And that ends my tutorial for partnership accounting from formation to dissolution. I thank you for listening and I hope you learned something from this tutorial.